All right, students, thank you for bearing with me and my tardiness. We're going to get this here started. What we're going to do is actually dive into the lovely world of color. Why is that? Because the psychology of color is an important aspect of design, is how we communicate things. It's like the difference between a red Valentine's Day card and a blue Valentine's Day card. If you were to get a blue Valentine's Day card, let me know if you would feel away. Would you think this person loves you? If you got
I
yourself
think
a
a I think a blue Valentine's Day card might symbolize some sort of friend zone. Red now is like showing the world of interest, and blue now is showing like trust and loyalty, but it's a whole different connotation if it had to be blue.
But I
Man, in my
mean,
opinion, a card is a card. It don't matter the color.
okay, all right, good stuff. I like that. Because the question would be like, who decided that red was the color? Like, why did Valentine's have to be red? Right? Is it just because it's love? And why is love associated with red? Anywho, we get into that in a little bit. Right. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Show you guys a couple logos. And I want you to tell me, what does the use of color make you feel about this brand, right? We all know this streaming platform, whether you use it yourself or you borrow login credentials from somebody else. We don't have to, say what's the truth here. But are there any emotions or ideas that come to mind when you see the fact that, Netflix is definitely red?
I get an interest of, you know, the red is lure you in, especially with the logo being like smart in the middle. So I guess it kind of says the center of your attention is probably what this image is supposed to say, the center of attention. And
Okay.
because, pardon?
No, saying okay.
Right. And I guess because of the red, it gives you a feel of some interest and excitement.
All right. Anybody else? Anything to share? Does the use of color make you feel anything about the brand? So, not necessarily just the image, but when you think about what you know about Netflix and their color being red, you think you'll feel the same way if it was yellow, if it was green, if it was purple.
Well, red is a very popular color in China. Where them has got New Year's Day and what's that, and then all a lot of red stuff and gold and that color. When I see red, for me, red is like similar to, I want to say, like passion or the dramatic, almost like a fiery, passionate personality.
Sure.
So yeah.
Okay. Cool. All good things. All good things. All right. Let's take a step forward. What about it being white? You feel the same way? Do you feel no different? Is it just like, all right, the words are exactly the same?
Comes off a bit
I'm
dull
not as
to me now.
interested.
Pardon, Cesaria?
I am not as interested in this white logo than I was in red.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
to
I'm not
me,
sure I would purchase Netflix.
Right.
well, it sounds kind of dull. It literally thinks like it's simple, black and white.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much complexity, not much interest. I can actually see Netflix being a newspaper brand now versus a online TV streaming platform.
All right, cool. Like these are all good questions that you can always ask yourself. Like, is it just because Netflix has been red for so many years that you feel this way? Or is it you just have this natural feeling that, you know what, when I look at white on black, I feel there's a different feeling that I get. All right. So you may be aware of it, you might not be aware of it, but that's fine. We all know this golden arches. What feeling do you get looking at this now? What was your first thought? This slide came up and you immediately went to where?
I don't like the colors together, but
Okay.
it suits. the brand, if it makes sense.
Ketchup and mustard. Hey, you might be onto
Uh,
something.
Well, I guess for me,
Mm-hmm.
it gives me a sense of wonder and interest.
Okay,
No, truth be told, I understand a bit of color psychology, but
sure,
I just look in terms of the actual criteria right now. Like for me, immediately the yellow draws you in, and the red also holds your attention. So I guess this brown was designed in such a way to be seen. As soon as it's seen, as soon as you see it, it's supposed to capture your attention.
sure. All right, let's keep it going.
This logo, when you look at this, it similar to Chefette and KFC logo. I mean, in terms of the color,
Right.
um, KFC carried the red, um, Chefette more the yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think that is? We got Chefette, we got KFC, McDonald's. They either have the red or they lean on the yellow side of things. All fast food restaurants. What do you think there's any connection there with these colors?
For me, yellow symbolizes a color that when I see yellow, I feel like family oriented. Like yellow is a color that, you know, sun, bright, give it a bright, exciting feeling when I see yellow in this here. Similar to like Chefette.
Okay.
Chefette is somewhat like a family restaurant, I would say. All the kids playground and that kind of stuff. So that's what I get from the yellow. The
Yeah.
red, no. The red is like more passionate about what you're doing, like showing, your enthusiasm towards, you know, your work or, like Chef KFC and more, it's put all these spices in the chicken and that's what we get.
All right, no worries. Same treatment,
Um,
black and white. Do we have a feeling? Red
I
and
would just say
yellow,
it called
black and white.
wait, so you can hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
I was just saying, I would say, because the color's brighter, I guess, it will trap, it will trap more because it's brighter. No, like when you got dark colors, it just feel like, like gloomy and, like, it don't really, you know, give me that sort of feeling as if it was brighter, like
Right.
red and yellow.
Okay. Cool. So you kind of like feel that the colors lost their power now that we're going into this black and white situation.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Last one. All right. How do you feel about this use of color?
The logo, the color is perfect. The team is perfect. It makes sense. It makes sense.
We talking about the color. We talking about the fact that you this is your team.
Yeah, the colors make sense too. The colors make
Okay.
sense.
All right. All right. Fair enough. Color makes
Well, truth,
sense.
truth be told, I don't know the team she's referring to, so I hope that doesn't offend anyone. However, what I would say from a graphic standpoint, I think the colors complement in terms of the yellow and blue.
Right.
I just I just don't have something else to go on here. I guess to be quite honest with you, because it said team, I observe a thing because you said team. I think it is some sort of sport,
Right.
but I don't know. It doesn't seem that interesting. It doesn't feel like like I would want to have the world of angels. I might see it and overlook it pretty easily with these tones. Maybe if it had some blacks in it, to a stroke of black somewhere to help pop, maybe then, But to me, the two colors, I don't know what it dually brings to the table, but that's just for me.
All right. No worries. Let's see Golden State Warriors logo there. Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry and them. All right. So logo in black now. All right. Does it feel like it lost some of its energy? Does it feel the same?
It definitely lost energy.
All right. So that's what we got going on right now. We got some color. So you guys gave me some interesting answers, some good answers in there. And the fact that you did, you're already starting to think like a strategic manager, right? You see that color is not just a decoration, it's a language. We could communicate different things just based on what we're seeing. Normally in the food industry, we will have those yellows, reds, purples, oranges, because these somehow, some way tell people it's time to eat, right? Burger King, that has blue, red, yellow. Pizza Hut, red and white. Shafat, not Shafat. KFC, red and white. Shafat, purple and yellow. What else? Chick-fil-A. What color is Chick-fil-A? I feel like it's red. Right?
It's red
Wendy's.
and Subway is green.
Right. Now Subway kind of different. Right? Subway, yes, is food, but it's almost it almost presents like the healthy side of fast food, even though it's bread, but you got all the other stuff that you can put in there. Yeah, so you got all of these colors that mess around and play around, and they all communicate and say things to you. So this use of language, we need to understand a few simple rules, right? Our first tool is the color wheel. We're going to get to that. So the color wheel, this shows how all the colors relate to each other. And we have things like our primary colors, which is red, yellow, and blue. Then we have the secondary colors, which are made up by mixing the primary colors. Like you would have done that way back in primary school, where you would mix yellow and blue. Wait, yes, red, yellow, blue. You mix yellow and blue, you're going to get green. You mix yellow and red, you're going to get orange. You mix red and blue, you're going to get purple. All right, so you start to get those secondary colors from mixing those, and so on and so forth. So the color wheel helps us find two key types of relationships. I know where, Savannah. First, we got complementary colors. All right, and I'm going to show you stuff a little bit later, but we have complementary colors, and these are just colors that live opposite each other, directly opposite each other on the color wheel. So purple, yellow, complementary colors. Orange, blue, complementary colors. Green, red, complementary colors. It's as if you took a picture of anything, and then in your app, you just invert the colors, boom, you got the complementary. All right. And the deeper you go into color, you're going to start looking at light, and then the world is going to be weird to you, because the colors that you see are not the actual color of the object, but all the color that's reflected off of that object. All right. So if you're looking at something blue, that's because, well, not if you're looking at something blue. When you see something blue, that's because blue is being reflected off the object and coming to your eyes. So if it's coming to your eyes as blue, all the other colors were absorbed by the thing, all right? Which in most cases would mean that the thing is orange. As weird as that sounds. So the sky is not blue, and trees are not green, and your skin is not brown or black. But that's a whole different situation. All right. So these complementary colors have a high energy contrast, right? These are colors that if you put them next to each other on a piece of paper, your eyes start to hurt, right? If you put green and red on the same page, the colors feel like they're vibrating, they feel like they're moving, they get a lot of tension from that. So if you think of a movie poster that uses a bright orange font on a dark blue background, the orange is really going to jump off of that page. It might feel like it's even a little ahead of the dark blue background. Right? We have a few other types of colors, but colors have a voice. And when we think about the voice that these colors have, we're going to call that the psychology of colors. And brands use this in a way to make you feel a certain way without saying a word. So like Jamal was saying, when we think of red, we think of energy, we think of passion, right? There's a sense of urgency. That's why stop signs are red. You're more likely to see red just based on how our eyes work. It's one of those colors that we definitely are going to see out of nowhere. One, most of the background of what we're going to see is probably going to be green. So if you got a red stop sign, it's going to contrast any trees that are around it. All right. Did you guys ever wonder why most scrubs are green or that kind of pastel blue color? All right. Why would a hospital wear green, like a particular color scrubs? I mean, yes, we do have those scrubs that would have like little animals and all this sort of thing now, but before a lot of people were wearing green scrubs. Why? So you would know if you happen to have some blood on you. Just gonna stand out. Just be like, okay, cool. I can see that I need to definitely change these scrubs. Blue, that's the type of color that suggests trust. If you think of banks, insurance companies, hedge funds, anything financial related, to be honest, those companies tend to be blue, tend to be that kind of tealish type of color. Why? This color just seems to speak to stability, confidence, and calm, right? Think about Sagicor, ICBL, CG United. What colors are these companies? It just seems to be what they do, right? So even tech companies. Green, this represents nature, growth, money. Right now you can say health and wellness, but those are those colors. And black, this often feels sleek, powerful, or elegant, right? And those are just what happens with just some of the colors, for example. Yeah. Now, in the last 10 years, right, we got a great example in Rihanna, because when she launched her Fenty Beauty line, she broke all the rules. The makeup industry was full of muted tones and elegant, almost invisible product lines, right? Packaging, pretty clean, white, muted tones. But Rihanna launched with vibrant, unapologetic palette of colors. All right. She used strong, bright, and unconventional color story. All right. This bold use of color sent a clear message. This brand is for everyone. Right. It's all about joy. It's all about self-expression. Right. Bold, joy, self-expression, pushing boundaries. It helps her stand out in a crowded market and connect with a massive, diverse audience, right? Because if you're wearing Fenty, chances are you're going to find a shade that works for you, right? And that allowed her to catapult her from whatever level she was at before Fenty to what she is now. Billionaire, right? Major, major, major. But wouldn't it be interesting if color played an interesting role in that jump, right? Yes, the product is good. Of course, you're not going to get sales if the product isn't good. But when we look at yourself as a manager, you're looking at your client and what they want to do. Remember, we spoke about those design principles, CRAP, right? Contrast, repetition, alignment, proximity. If everyone else in the industry is using muted tones, this creates an opportunity for you to stand out just by not using muted tones. Now, if you add with that the personality of your client in the person of Rihanna, people have already loved the way that she interacts on social media, on her Twitter, talking to her fans, going after people that say anything on her page that she doesn't like. People already know that. She already stands out. So Rihanna herself contrasts in her personality, right? As far as when you relate her versus everyone else, and around that time, contrast. She now launches a product, launches a brand, launches a movement that stands apart, unapologetically vibrant. This is contrast playing out in real time, right? I told you guys, these concepts, they're principles, they work across the board. It's not just because of how things look, but you can use them conceptually just to set yourself apart, or set your client apart. So here are some colors visually now, all right? What you're looking at here is visual representation of complementary colors. You can see the color at the top, directly opposite this one at the bottom. We got the complementary colors. Why is this blue? That's very odd. Okay. All right. Cool. So this is a complementary color. Two colors on opposite facing sides of the color wheel. So this composition, like I mentioned, provides the highest contrast, highest impact color combination possible. These colors will appear brighter and more prominent, all right? If you use them together, you might have to squint, put on sunglasses or something. Next up, we got monochromatic, right? 3 shades, tones, and tints of one base color. So we're going to have orange, a slightly lighter orange, a slightly lighter orange. All right. These provide a subtle conservative color combination. This is a versatile application that's easy to apply to design projects for a harmonious look. All right. You could even see this in, let's say, boy bands in the 90s. All right. You might have everyone is wearing black, but they wear black in different ways, right? Some persons might add white with the black, someone might wear gray with the black, but the whole look is monochromatic. So there's unity, right? There's unity, or I don't think that would be alignment. I think it'll be pushing it if I try to call that alignment. But there's unity within what you are visually seeing because everyone is part of the same tone, shade, or tint. All right, this is what monochromatic does as color. All right, and that I was practicing this and I still can't say it. Analogous, yes. 3 colors that are side by side on the color wheel, right? So you got 3 colors that are literally next to each other. That would be this. All right, so red, orange, yellow, right? This. So it's almost like when we go outside during the sunset, you're going to see a set of colors that just work with each other. They're different, but they work. During the sunset, you can definitely get this kind of blue. You can get this purple. You can get a pink. And you're probably going to get a little orange coming through wherever the sun is brightest. All right. That color combination is analogous, right? This is versatile. It can be a little overwhelming, but to balance this color scheme, we choose one dominant color and use the other as accents, right? So you can use that. You could decide how you use that in interesting ways. Again, we're still thinking about our client. We're still thinking about what they want, their background. We're thinking of possibly how they're going to show up on stage. If they're a musician, sure, safe colors like black, white, gray, gold, that sort of thing. But maybe their treatment on stage is like this. Maybe their band, instead of having those colors that we're accustomed to, they come up with a band in color, right? And maybe their band are analogous like this, and then they come out in a complementary color like red. So they're going to create contrast between themselves and the band, but in order to let the band stand out, but not as much as them, they put the band in these shades of blue. All right. Could be an interesting way to go. Usually, anyone in the background automatically put in black. All right. You guys can agree with that, yeah? Anytime there's a performer or someone else and they have supporting people, they usually put them in black. But what if you don't want your people to fade into the background? Right? This gives you a way to connect them that still works. All right, another combination, triadic. All right, these are 3 colors that are evenly spaced on the color wheel. So because there are 12 colors on the color wheel, between each color, there are 3 colors. So we put one color, we skip 3, pick another one, skip 3, pick another one, skip 3. Those 3 colors, when you switch it like that, those are going to work together. All right, you're just going to see if you want to use all 3 of them in the same intensity, or if you want to tone them down a little bit. All right. And the last combination for now is going to be tetradic. All right, tetradic color schemes. These are, wait, I didn't change the image. Hold on, because that is not. Sir, you're supposed to be talking? No, I was trying to explain something to my daughter. Right. This is the color. These are the, can you? These are the tetradic colors. All right. 4 colors that are evenly spaced on the color wheel. All right. So triadic, right? 3 colors separated by 3 colors. Tetradic, 4 colors separated by 2 colors. All right. And you're able to then, just like some of the others, you're going to use them with wisdom. Choose one that's going to be your lead color. And then the other ones that fall into the background, they're more used more in an accent type scheme. All right. So that's how we use those to create some balance. Now they are, let's see. They are, when you get into, still in the world of color, but there are going to be 2 ways that you can use color, not 2 ways, there are 2 color modes. When they say color mode, this is the difference between putting something out digitally and putting something out in the real world, like if you have to print. So if you're printing, and you guys can write this down, if you're printing, you're going to be using CMYK, right? And those are just what the 4 colors that you use when you're printing anything are going to be. When we spoke about primary colors, we mentioned red, yellow, and blue. Those primary colors exist digitally when we think of RGB, right? And that's just because it uses light. All right. When we're talking about light, digital world lives in the same place as just light outside, right? But if we're printing, we have to use CMYK, right? Which is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. All right. If you were to Google CMYK, some people would call it cyan, magenta, yellow, and key. And that's where the K came from. But cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, that is completely fine as something that we can use, right? Those 2 colors are just the difference between digital and physical if you had to print something. Some of the strongest differentiations between those 2 is when you're using CMYK, those colors are going to look darker, all right? Whereas RGB, those are going to appear more bright and more vibrant, right? Mainly because those deal with light. Those will also be on your screens, on, well, any device that has a screen, it's going to be dealing with RGB. All right. All right, so in the color wheel, these hues, these are 12 hues. The color wheel is really separated into these 3 sections: primary, secondary, tertiary, where, like I mentioned in the beginning, you mix the primary together, you're going to end up with the secondary. Mix the secondary together, you're going to start to end up with these tertiary colors. All right, so primary colors in RGB color wheel These are colors that are added together. They create pure white light. I don't know if you guys ever remember making a color wheel way back in primary school. It would usually be a card. It has a bunch of colors on it. And when you spin it, it starts to look white, right? Just because these colors, they blend together, they're going to give you white. That's going to mean that anything that comes across as white is because those are all the colors mixing together really quickly before your eyes. All right, that's where white comes from. Now, the RGB color mode, we call that an additive color mode, which I should have put in here. I have it in another slide deck. That should really be in here. Anyway, RGB is additive, meaning that as you add more colors together, you're going to end up with white. Whereas CMYK is subtractive. So as you add these colors together, you're going to end up with black. Case in point, if you have paint and you start putting paint together and you mix and mix and mix and mix more colors and more colors, eventually that is going to look very, very dark. All right, when you mix all the colors together in CMYK, you end up with black. When you mix all the colors in RGB together, you end up with white. RGB, additive, CMYK, subtractive. All right, so like I mentioned, there are 12 main colors on the color wheel. Just send this to you. This is more awareness at this point. Like, I don't think people are going to be asking you for these 12 colors. But if you understand the principle of them, then you're definitely going to be in a good place. All right, so primary colors. All right, so I mentioned this part.
Just for clarification, sir,
Yep.
the colors sent, there are categorized as secondary colors as well?
No, those would just be the 12 colors. All right, so let me see here. So if we're looking at this right here, we're going to go red, orange, yellow, chartreuse.
Oh, chartreuse. Yeah, chartreuse.
Chartreuse green,
Yeah.
spring green, cyan, azul, blue, violet, magenta, rose, red. Right? These would be the 12 colors. Right? Of those 12, red, yellow, blue are the primary. Violet, orange, not orange. Yeah, violet, orange, and green. Probably spring green. Going to be your secondary colors. And then these would be your tertiary colors. All right, so tertiary, those are made. Pardon?
Can you go to the slide before that?
Sure.
The other slide before that now? Okay, got it.
All right, so yeah, these are the tertiary colors. Now,
Sir, you could just pop back really fast. Sorry.
Pop back to tertiary.
You could take a peek. Thank you.
No problem. All right, so we have those different colors on the wheel, but the colors on the wheel now, they're actually separated into warm and cold. So the color combinations found on the color wheel have a balance of warm or cool colors. So according to color psychology, different color temperatures evoke different feelings. For example, warm colors are said to bring to mind coziness, energy, while cool colors are associated with serenity and isolation. All right, so imagine in your mind that we're going to a spa. right? We're going to spend the day at a spa. What color, right, do you think that their logo is going to be? Warm or is it going to be cool? What do you think? Most likely.
Cool.
You go ahead, type your answers in the chat. Let me see what the most numbers look like.
Or you could ask the question again.
We are going to spend a day at a spa, right? And we're walking up to the spa. We can see the sign, we can see the door, we start to see someone come out to welcome us. What do you think their colors are going to be? They're going to be more warm colors or cool colors at this spa? I want you to just think about the experience of being at a spa. Think about how persons tend to feel leaving a spa day, and just try to associate whether those feelings feel like warm feelings or cool feelings. Should they be like, do warm colors feel like they fit better, or do cool colors feel like they fit better? All right, so I got cool, blue specifically, cool, green. Yeah, cool colors. All right, someone said warm. Yeah, 100%. I would think cool as well, right? Because cool, we got these blues and we got greens. If I think spa, I'm thinking water, I'm thinking those fountains, I'm thinking Zen gardens, right? Thinking those tranquil feelings of relaxation. Thinking the sounds of rainforests and birds tweeting and light rain falling, all that sort of stuff. Now, are there some warm experiences at a spa? 100%. You can get a massage, right? You can get a hot rock treatment. All of those are things that happen there, but you leave feeling relaxed. You leave feeling so very, very zen. So that's probably most likely why most of these things, right? Sweet Feel Manor. Shout out to, I actually did the logo for Paval, actually. That's why these colors tend to live in those places. Can you have a spa that is a warm color? 100%. You could definitely do it. But you're going to need to know that you're choosing this color for a particular reason, right? You could choose the color to stand apart from everything else that's happening in the space. Maybe your approach is different. Maybe you want your spa to be more warm and inviting, and you're leaning more on the experience of coming to the spa and being served by these people, as opposed to the actual treatment and how you're going to feel, right? Which is now where your perspective on marketing is going to come in. The personality of the brand itself. So if you bring this back to your client, all right, when you're thinking about your different clients and who they are and what they're doing, you can even start now to think about, all right, do they live in a cool place or a warm place? All right, what kind of colors do I want to associate with this person? Right, because that is part of their brand, how they show up. Right. Again, if you want to bring it back to principles, that would be repetition. Do they always live in a warm palette? Right? Do they live in a warm palette, but their attitude, their demeanor is more cool? Right? Are they more reserved? Are they a recluse? Right? Do they love being around their fans? Those are different things that you can start to pick up, and you can pick and choose how you then use color to assist you, right? How do you like the stage? Is every song going to be cool colors? Are there some songs that are going to be lit with cool colors and some songs that are red and warm colors? You know, who knows? But the more you understand the color, you can now guide the experience of what it is that your client is doing, right? Where now light plays a role where your client doesn't even have to speak a word. People already know what the vibe is going to be. Imagine the stage, the lights go out on stage, and your client, whether they are a musician, as in an instrumentalist, they're a vocalist, maybe it's the end of a successful event and your client comes on stage just to thank everybody for coming, the lights black out, and then there's a single light that drops from the stage. All right. If that light is red, how do you think this person is going to start speaking to this audience? Where's their energy going to be at on a scale of 0 being here and 10 being up here? Where's their energy going to be? The light, the
10.
single light for them is 10, is red.
Yeah, it's 10.
All right. Yeah. You expect some passion. You expect them to not just stand there and, you know what I mean, just speaking a really, really soft voice. You're expecting some life from them. If the single light happens to be green, blue, you might be expecting something a little more laid back, something a little more personable. They may have brought up a stool to sit down on, right? But you're now reacting to the colors. You as an event manager now, let's say you guys want to focus on events. You can get your lighting team to do things specifically with this stuff in mind. All right. All right, let's keep it going. All right, and now we have shades, tints, and tones. All right, these are similar to the monochromatic situation that we're looking at. So a shade is created by adding black to the base hue, which then darkens the color. This creates a deeper, richer color. Shades can be quite dramatic, and they also can be overpowering. So if it's a shade, you're adding black to the base hue. You're adding black. So it eventually gets richer and it eventually turns to black. A tint, however, is created by adding white to the base hue. So this then lightens the color, right? So tint, you can go from red down to a very pale red.
So what you say about tint?
Tint is created by adding white. All right. So if you tint something, you're more adding white to it. It's going to make it less intense, and it's going to be useful for balancing more vivid color combinations. So, I had a thought there and I lost it. Okay, cool. Pastels. If you're thinking of pastel colors, you would find those probably hanging out in a spa, right? Spa may not have the full bright, rich color. They may tone it down a bit, right? So you end up in a pastel place where it's almost like cotton candy, feels kind of like clouds. It's very light, right? There's not a lot of intensity to it. Those are tints, right? But shades now, you add black to it. This is a major step. You're going to see the difference between these things. It becomes more and more intense. But a tone, however, is created by combining black and white or gray with the base hue. So tones, they get a little bit different, right? So they're less likely to look pastel, and they can reveal complexities not apparent in the base color. So when you have a tone now, it's easy to feel like it steps away from what the original color was. With tints and shades, you can kind of see like, all right, if it's this color, we probably started with someone that was red. If it was this color, I can see how this could be red. But if the end result is gray, starting from red might be a little confusing. Like, how we got from red to gray? All right. But that's where we start to see colors like have you ever seen a blue that kind of feels like it has green in it? It don't feel like green. It doesn't feel like blue. It doesn't feel like green. It feels like its own thing. That would be a tone. All right. Now that was a lot about color.
Before you go, sir, could you just
Yep.
reiterate exactly what a tone is? So we know it's exactly what a tone is.
Oh, a tone is created by combining black and white or gray, combining black and white or gray with the base hue. So you're going to start with red. So instead of adding only black or only white, you're going to mix up some kind of gray situation and add that to the color that you started with.
Can you do it for shade,
All
please?
right, thank you so much.
Say that one more time.
Can you one more time reiterate what you said for shade?
For shade, that is made by adding black to the base hue. All right, so a shade is when you add black. Tint is when you add white. And the tone is you add both black and white.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, I'm very fired. No, thanks.
All right, perfecto. Right, so that is it for the first third class. All right, go ahead, stretch your legs. Back here in 10 minutes. 10 minutos.
Memphis. Alarm coming from Abuja. Protect you from Bagada. The way you ride it, I like it. Give me a chance, make us leading. We make it out in December. Your baby do me JJ. The way you smile, you smile, you smile, you smile. I wanna make you mine, mine, mine.